Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be making some holiday tags using some products from Pretty Pink Posh. I'll be using the Christmas Dinosaurs stamp set that was recently released, and this stamp set is so stinking cute. It has 5 dinosaurs, and these dinosaurs are all decked out for the holidays. There's one that has a Christmas hat, there's one that's holding a wreath, there's one with some winter earmuffs and a scarf. There's one with presents on the top of its back, and there's also one that has Christmas lights that are intertwined within its spikes. So I'll be coloring up these dinosaurs and putting them on some tags, and for the shape of my tag, I'll be using the scalloped square tag die set from Pretty Pink Posh. And this die set, it has 2 different size tags. I'll be using the largest one, and I'm just die cutting that out of some white cardstock. So I stamped my images onto some Bristol smooth cardstock, and I'm going to do some coloring with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. These markers are water-based markers, and to blend them you can either use a water brush or a paintbrush with water. You can also use the blender Zig marker, which that's what I'm using to do my blending. The blender marker has a blending solution in it, and I prefer it over using water brush or paintbrush because sometimes I find that when I use a water brush or paintbrush that I do end up with water splotches on my cardstock, and with the blender I don't have any of that. Now with some of these smaller areas, such as these light bulbs that you see me coloring in, I'm just coloring with the one marker, and I don't even need to blend it because it's just such a small space. If you're interested in finding out about any of the colors that I'm using to color these images up, I will have them all listed on my corresponding blog post, and there will be a link to that blog post down in the description box of this YouTube video. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and set this to music and let you watch as I finish the coloring, and I'll be back once the coloring is finished and we'll continue making these tags. So after I finish coloring, I'm going to die cut these images with the coordinating dies, and then I will set them aside and I'll work on the tag. So I've die cut the tag out of some white cardstock. I love this tag because it has the scalloped edge and it also has some stitching lines all around it. So I'm going to use some of my mint tape and I'm going to mask off the edges of this tag. And when I mask off the edges, I'm just putting that tape right to the edge of those stitched lines that are all around the tag. And that's going to keep my scalloped part of the tag white because I am going to be doing some inking on this tag, and I'll only be inking the middle part of the tag and not those scalloped edges. So the ink that I'm going to be using here is the Midnight Blue ink from Scrapbookcom. And I'm just going to take an ink blending brush and I'm going to ink the white cardstock, and I wanted this to look like a sky, and that's why I chose the blue. And I'm not going to come all the way to the bottom. I'm going to leave the bottom part of that tag white. That way it's going to look like there's a little bit of a white border down there at the bottom, and my goal is to make that white part look like fluffy snow. So that's why I'm not inking the whole background up. So once I remove all of that mint tape, you'll be able to see what this looks like, and now you can really tell that it has the sky with the snowy bottom. I'm going to do one more tag and do it the same way, but I'm just going to change up the ink colors. So again, I'm going to use my mint tape and just mask off the edges right up until that stitched border line. And this time I'm going to be bringing in my Scrapbookcom Lantern Light ink, and this one is a yellow ink. And I'm doing the same thing, adding the ink at the top, but leaving a little bit of white at the bottom for the ground or for the snow. So I'll go ahead and remove that tape, and now I'll go ahead and put the images on my tag. Now I do want to mention that if you didn't want to leave the white bottom, you could always take a hillside border die and die cut out of white cardstock and put a little border on there, and that will also add a little bit of dimension because you're doubling up the cardstock. So here I'm using my yellow dinosaur. I put the palm tree with all of the lights behind him, and now I'm just putting this tag in my Misti, and I'm going to center up the sentiment and stamp it down. So the sentiment I'm using that came with the stamp set, it says Merry Rexmas, and I'm going to use that for all of my tags today. So here's what this tag looks like. I'm also going to glue a few stars to this tag as well. So I made this tag a little bit darker blue so it would look like a little bit of a evening sky with that little bit of a darker shade and those stars. And now I'm going to add some images to my yellow tag. This one I'm going to use my blue dinosaur with the Santa hat. I'm going to put a little candy cane in his hand, and I'll stamp the sentiment off camera. And now I'm ready to punch holes in the top of the tags, just using a single hole puncher, and then I'm going to tie a red ribbon through the hole and just trim off the excess ribbon, and that tag is complete. So I created 4 tags with this stamp set. I have the darker blue background with the yellow dinosaur, the yellow background with the blue dinosaur, and then I have 2 more tags that I created with some lighter blue backgrounds. For this one I used the Ballgown blue ink, and the next one I used the glass slipper ink for the background of those tags. I think these tags would be super cute to add to some holiday gifts, and you can even turn them over and write your message. If you're interested in any of the products that I've used today, be sure to check the description box of this YouTube video. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.